Welcome to the RevOps Loop podcast with Maarten and Stjepan, brought to you by Digital Reach and the nonprofit Tech Shop. Get ready to learn about revenue operations, HubSpot, and beer.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 already, the RevOps Loop. Our topic for today is kind of having a little bit of a retrospective moment. We're saying if you're starting out in marketing and RevOps today, what would you focus on? And I guess from our point of view, if we were 18 again or however young, what would we tell our younger selves in terms of where we should be focusing our efforts, what we should be digging into if we wanted to start our careers in marketing and revenue operations right now. I mean, it goes without saying, landscape has changed quite a bit, and we're not even that old, Stjepan, but even in those, 10-ish years, let's round it down a little bit, a lot has changed. I don't know about you, but at least for me, I don't think any of the tools and things that we were studying back in college were at all applied afterwards, let alone now. So a lot changes very quick. Not even to mention AI, obviously, the big buzzword. So yeah, with all of that in mind, I just wanted to look back and say, if we're starting now, where would we focus on? But maybe just real quick before that, as kind of like a soft introduction, Stjepan, maybe you can kick us off with that. What was sort of your introduction to marketing RevOps? What was sort of your angle, your way in, and what were your initial focus points, for better or for worse, whether they turn out to be the right ones or not?
A lot of has changed in the last 10 years and it's changing rapidly in the last year. So for me, I think I was just curious. I was like
Yeah,
I was doing project management, I was doing some side hustles on web
yeah,
development, WordPress stuff that was at that time a niche to have a template, do a site, but I wanted to learn more about how I can expand it. So then I was just curious, I was browsing through a lot of forums.
yeah.
There was that at that time there were not everybody had the newsletter. So you
Mhm.
couldn't just subscribe. The LinkedIn was not big at that time, I think like 10 years ago. You're just starting out. So I was just trying to find some good sites, and then I think my go-to was Amazon and books. I think
Okay.
that was my go-to. Okay, I need to learn about marketing. Let me buy a book. I need to learn
Okay.
about some sales and how it interacts, handoffs, whatever. I just tried to find a book and started from there, and I just continued. So and then as the newsletters came, whatever forums, Coursera, I just started there and
Yeah.
trying to upskill myself, but then also trying to learn by doing stuff. Like for
Yeah.
me,
Example. Yeah.
and maybe just offering freelance stuff pro bono to some people that I know that need marketing and need some RevOps stuff back in the days. But that's
Yeah.
just a quick intro on my end. But
So
I'm curious,
more
yeah,
from like a bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a dev background, but you were building websites initially, and then self-educating yourself, ordering books through Amazon, very old school.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Basically, I didn't build websites. I just I find a niche where I can just buy a template, and then I
mm,
learned how to dissect it, the template, and then just build whatever somebody needed.
yeah,
But I didn't enjoyed it because I was not so technical at then,
mhm,
and I wanted to learn why are people spending dollars on ads and social. So one story is
yeah,
I was at an event where just people are talking about Facebook ads, and I was very young at that time, but I already knew about Facebook ads, and that was just launching. and I said to one person like, why are you spending so much like money on new like ads in newspapers on radio? You can just have like $20 spent, and at that time you can reach a lot of people with $20 because
Hmm.
not everybody's doing Facebook. So then he was just like, I think a week after, he just called me and he said like, I have like $1,000 a month. Let's spend that.
Hmm.
And from there, I think that's where I started to realize like, okay, this is the future, and
Yeah.
I need to learn as much as I can about it, and I need to learn more by testing, but also like trying to understand how can we improve the conversions and everything else.
Yeah.
And from there, we went to ads, like Google Ads, and then from there it went like, okay, processes. So that's
Yeah.
like how I came into the that like
Yeah.
RevOps marketing stuff. But interested
That,
like how you started.
yeah, that RevOps marketing twilight zone that we're kind of in. Yeah, no, for me, from a different angle, I came in more from a sales perspective. Like that was my first job from sales, and from sales, this was sort of like full funnel sales we had to do, meaning we had to do our prospecting and outreach and then closing. So kind of like a BDR AE hybrid role. And then I was very drawn to the whole um, prospecting side of things from a technical perspective, like scraping websites and then putting lead lists together and then putting formulas in Excel to score them based on things. And again, this is then also, there were a lot of enrichment tools out there, but either very expensive and um, not as integrated as they are now. So a lot of this was built using custom scrapers that you would code yourself. And again, I say code very liberally here. It wasn't really coding. It's Googling of how do I get this thing to do that thing. And that was basically it. And so I'd pull a list and then, I'd set up these little bots that would take a company name and run it through a specific website and then take that information and put it back into a sheet. And then I had my list anyway. So I was spending more time on that than actual selling, and then gradually moved more towards that side of the business, like helping the rest of the sales team put lists together and score their leads, etc. And then that way moving more into the whole RevOps marketing side of things. But I think one thing we agree on, and that probably hasn't changed at all, and it's definitely still the same advice that I would give to my younger self, is that whole curious side of things and just building stuff and doing stuff, and whether you get paid for it or not, just have little side projects where you experiment. And I know you and I are both doing this and building little apps on Lovable and Replit. Like, I think that's something that you never really want to stop doing anyway. But that's definitely something that I would do right away if I'm getting into marketing RevOps, is just set up a little campaign, set up a little app, not 100% relevant there, but start building something out. I know we had at one point, and this was through a school project, we had to set up a small social campaign for an actual company. So we had to go and find a company and we say, hey, we want to put a social post together and we want to track performance, something like that. But this was for a tiny company, for a tiny shop in our village. We did this. But okay, we set it up. It was like a little giveaway contest that we were setting up through their social media. 50, 60 people participated, and it was a winner and got some good publicity. They were happy. Not a huge deal. It was a small thing, but I remember at the time getting super excited of seeing those clicks come in and then form submissions, and then it just gives you that motivation to like, oh, I want to try this again. And then it's exactly then what we did. So after that school project, just went to a couple other shops and say, hey, we did this. Can we set up something for you? We'll design a nice little post. We'll do a little giveaway. You just need
Yeah,
to submit a prize. It's
and,
fun,
and I
and
think
then that
and I
gives you
think
the motivation to keep going.
and that takes me back to like I don't know, like we had like a class where you can like virtually purchase stocks when I was in
Oh yeah,
college.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
like you get like $1,000 and you can purchase stocks. You build your portfolio, and then at the end of the semester, whoever has the highest return,
Oh yeah.
they don't need to like take the first exam or even do any seminars, whatever. So I think like taking that, that's a pretty good like motivation for somebody, even if they're building like an app, like a small app using Lovable. Like, why don't you like try to spend $100 like promoting it, like using Reddit ads
Yeah.
or just like simple social media ads on Instagram. You build a profile, you learn how to do it, you learn what you can do with it, how to segment it, maybe connect it to a
Yeah.
like a free CRM and try to somehow like do it as a little small side project.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like what made me curious. Like, okay, I can spend it and I get something back. And I
Yeah.
think that's like where the curious
Yeah.
started for
You
me.
got to make it
And
real,
push.
right?
You
That's like
got you
the
gotta
thing about
make
like it's
you gotta make it real. Like you just
as
be
small as it
invested.
is.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
be invested. Even if like you start a newsletter, like that's also
Mhm.
something like nowadays you can start a newsletter. There's like apps where it's free, but like let's say you want to learn about how to promote that newsletter. You want to learn like when you get like a couple of subscribers, how do you segment those subscribers? How do you reach out to them? Like, and where to start if you're promoting a newsletter? Is it like cold outreach on LinkedIn? Maybe somebody that you know. So that all ties to being
Mhm.
proactive, being curious. So I think I would suggest to
Yeah.
anybody just to like start it that way and don't be afraid or like negative feedback or people ghosting you because the worst it can happen is like you get no response
Yeah.
and but and you learn as you go, like you learn how
Yeah.
to improve the messaging. That's one
Yeah.
part of the marketing side. You learn how to reach to people at certain times, maybe
Yeah.
certain days, and that like all ties together. And then like once you're comfortable doing that, you can then, okay, let me automate something because I cannot reach so many people in my day, like my side hustle day or working day. So then let
Mhm.
me find a tool that can help me automate like with like marketing emails or maybe some other tools that can
Yeah.
uh, help you. And that's how you learn. It's trial and error. There are like a couple of courses you can take. Like there's a HubSpot Academy free courses on like digital, I don't know, digital course or like marketing newsletters
Yeah.
or social media. But I don't think like if you don't make it real, as you said,
Mhm.
and you're just like looking at the theory or like taking the theory in,
Yeah. You don't
it
absorb
will
it as
not
well.
it will not work because like it's not that you're like you are learning, but like you one thing is like learning, but one thing is doing. That's like my
Mhm.
point there. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you want to like, if I'm starting out, I would just say like go in it and you will try. If you're in it, you will figure it out at some point,
Yeah.
and then when everything clicks, you just build on top of that. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
like, yeah. So I mean, staying curious, trying new things, making it real, right? Like kind of making that bridge from theory to something, however small it may be, right? Whether it's sort of mini, small project. No, I think 100% on everything there. One other angle, and I think this is something that at least from on my side, I don't think I did enough of, being a bit harsh, like, but in the beginning, when I started, I was like, oh, okay, that's something I should have focused a bit more on, is the people side of it. And so if you're trying to be good in marketing, you're fresh out of the college, you got your degree, your product marketing mix and everything. Yeah, you got your theory in order. You're ready to go into these platforms. One thing that I focus on a lot now, and probably would have focused on a bit more before, is deeply understanding the different roles that marketing touches. So sales is an obvious one, sales and marketing, right? But also, product, developer teams, finance teams, right? Leadership teams, etc. Like how all of their different views are on marketing, how they're impacted by it, what they are aiming to get out of it, so that you can then also not only set up your marketing strategies in a way that and that make the most sense. Like if you're working closely with product, you know the features that they're the most excited about. If you're then jumping in on sales calls, you're seeing the typical objections that sales are having. And if you're, again, working, I've had syncs with the finance team, which have been very revealing on sort of where we're actually seeing our revenue versus where we think we're seeing our revenue anyway. All of that helps shape your marketing campaigns. I really think so now. And I think that's something that I would, eh, if I were to start out, do from the get-go, is just really understand how marketing affects all other teams. And the only way to do that is to kind of building on our last point, be curious, jump in conversations and chats with different departments within your organization or outside, right? Just people, and understand their point of view to then not only enhance the way you set up your marketing campaigns, but also how you can um, how you sell it. So how you sell your work, how you sell your campaigns. I think now we know pretty well that if we're talking about our marketing campaign performance to a sales team versus a leadership team, we're telling two very different stories, right? We'll get very granular on the sales side and we'll talk about the different intent signals that we're collecting and how they can utilize this and da 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 da. And leadership, obviously we keep it high level. We want ROI numbers. We want acquisition cost versus lifetime value, and we want to show how the campaign is generating that. And I think these are things that it definitely helps you if early on you're kind of understanding how marketing or the role marketing plays in each of these different
Yeah,
departments,
and
right?
that's exactly the trial and error segment because like you
Mm.
nobody expects when you're starting out that you will know that you need to do that. Like you will just like have one
Yeah,
vision,
yeah,
like this is the marketing, we do it that way, and you don't know you don't know that you need to like change the angle for a different stakeholder. Like for
hmm,
a C-level, marketing is probably the first cost center that there is. Like if it's not generating anything at the beginning and there's like not a lot of volume, they cut it. For sales, you're just like somebody playing with the budget that they could probably spend hiring more sales and getting more leads or whatever,
hmm,
like qualifying more leads. So I think that yeah, it comes back to trial error, being curious,
yeah,
but also is like understanding that it's not a end game. Like
hmm,
you don't stop when you think you're good. I would
yeah,
say like that's something that like makes you better than most of the people starting
yeah,
out is like, okay, I learned everything that I could learn, and then that's it. Like, I would say
yeah,
your like your your learning and not stopping to learn anything that is maybe correlated to your role, or maybe it's just like amplifying it. I think that's very
yeah.
important. So even if you're a
So
marketer, I was just like watching the marketing on grains by HubSpot, and they were
mm,
saying like every marketer should wipe code, and I was
right,
like guessing like why should every month, but they had a pretty good point because now a marketer can talk to GPT or Claude and ask it like, what's like, let me give you this and this and this, and what's an angle that I'm not seeing? Like, what's the data that I'm not extracting from this that you, as in a role of VP of marketing, whatever, you are seeing and I'm not? And
yeah,
can you help me improving this campaign using that data? So I think
yeah,
that's the reason why, like if you stop and if you're not thinking outside of the box, you will get stuck because it's as we started, it's
yeah.
changing very very fast. Yeah.
Kind of, I guess, going from that, because like we talked a lot about sort of the soft skills, if you will, on what we recommend, like stay curious and try to make things real when you're implementing, but sort of practically, and some things I'd definitely recommend. And you kind of touched on it, is that what you can do now, and I've seen this, several people post about this on LinkedIn as well, where entire marketing teams can get replaced by one. tech savvy, business savvy marketing person who can work well with AI tools, right? And this is where obviously the AI buzzword comes in, but it's 100% true that if you have the understanding of everything that we discussed, right? Like through curiosity, you understand how marketing really works within the broader organization, and you have enough technical knowledge is not even the right word, just understanding really of, you understand the concepts of how things work. You understand the concept of putting a design together and a video ad together and what sort of the settings there should be. You have the concept of how reporting should look like. You have a concept of what attribution means and how different channels should be attributed revenue and all of that. If you understand enough of that, you don't have to be an expert in any of them, but you combine that with some tech savviness, and you've played around with a bunch of these AI tools. I know a couple of these people as well who are essentially one person marketing agencies, right? They're doing everything from creative to strategy to implementation to optimization, keyword audits, to revamping attribution models, etc. And I think from that point of view, one thing that I would definitely do if I was essentially starting in marketing RevOps now is get exactly to that point. That would make you immensely valuable, right? Like gain that technical understanding. You only get that by playing around with these tools and experimenting, kind of like we said. And then in terms of the business savviness, like understand the concepts of everything. Like don't understand a CRM, but understand how CRMs work, right? There's different object types, and they kind of link together. And then if you understand one, you'll understand all of them. And the same with the campaign build. Okay, you understand that there's campaign groups, and then within each group you'll have ad sets, etc. And again, this kind of translates to all channels roughly, right? So I would focus on doing that, getting that general understanding of different marketing concepts, and then constantly be playing around with technical tools to put that in place. Because I think if it's already now the case, but in a couple of years, an AI savvy one man marketing team, I feel like we're going to have a lot of companies that are going to be run that way. It just seems like the natural way to go, right?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think
That's
like
it.
it's a yeah. I think if you are an expert, if you are learning as everything progresses, you don't need to worry about like whatever losing your
Yeah,
job or staying in the role that you
right.
are currently in. What I think is just you need to stay on the path of making sure that you are upskilling all the time. And
Yeah,
but we did started with
yeah,
like if we are 18 again, or if you are starting out in marketing roles. So just so we don't scare anybody listening to this, I think you can do a couple of things. You can go to Reddit. You can ask around in a lot of subreddits that are like people looking to change jobs, change their roles, upskill. You can download or open an account on a free CRM tool and see how the CRM is set up, learn about the architecture, maybe build something that where you store your leads from, I don't know, whatever, a newsletter, an app that we touch based, maybe upgrade, paying a couple of dollars if you have it to like have access to automation or run a free
right.
trial to learn how to build the automation. Use the academy. There are a lot of tools. Maybe touch based on like some enrichment tools that are now popular just to see like okay how they're built, what they can achieve, and then feed your notes, like record it like a voice message to ChatGPT, like I did this today. What else should I be doing? I want to upskill. Give me a plan of like in next 3 months what I need to do
Yeah,
to like be better at this position, like a marketing RevOps person that's not technical or it's technical or is technical. Because what I see sometimes it's like people reaching to me like I'm a developer, I can do whatever you want me in HubSpot or any other CRM, but I
right.
don't understand what a lifecycle stage is. I don't understand what a tofu, bofu, mofu is. Like, what's that? Like,
Mhm.
I can build whatever you need me to, but I want to speak your language. And
Mhm.
I think those people, if they're curious, they can easily, like, not easily, but like they can progress in that, even if they understand the concepts and with the skills, if they're technical, they can build
Yeah,
some cool stuff and they can
for
support
sure.
a larger team, like an enterprise team. But they just need to understand it from a perspective of the other department.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So that one, so and yeah, that's one that for me sort of top of mind is really to combine that business savviness, and you only get that by experimenting and then combining that with some technical know-how. And on that point, you kind of mentioned it, right? Sort of what I think was already important 10, 15 years ago. It's only going to be more and more important is to keep that curious mindset of it, meaning constantly be exploring the latest tools and softwares that are out there. I think I know we both dedicate a decent portion of time in just constantly trying out new tools that are there, whether they're good or not. But just to stay on top of everything. The reason I think
and
it's even
and,
more
and,
important
and
now is
let
just
me
because.
let me quickly stop you there. I just want to like
Okay.
pick your brain on that point. Is okay, you mentioned need to be constantly curious, need to test tools
Yep.
that are like, yeah, but like, let's say you're just starting out, you're overwhelmed, and maybe
Yep.
like you're 3 months in,
Yep.
and you still need to have a mentality to test tools. Maybe you
Yep.
have a job that's like 10 hours a day, you have some other obligations. Like, how would
Yep.
you tell somebody or like motivate them to stay
Yeah.
curious or stay testing that tools? Do they do it over
Yeah.
weekend? How do they continue to do that?
Oh, yeah.
And
So, okay, two things. So, one, okay, how and where you do it obviously depends a little bit on your situation. If in your work you have a bit of a flexible role, you're starting out as a junior growth marketer and you're able to play around with tools on the company dime, great. Otherwise, if it's in your free time, the main thing there though is that the reason I think it's so important is because the more you'll do it, the more efficient you'll get at it, and that in and of itself is a super valuable skill, especially nowadays with so many tools coming at you, right? Like you just said it. You Google any kind of tool. I'm looking for a tool that is able to. What is something we scoped out recently? Send out gifts to companies. And we know a bunch of platforms like this exist, like these direct mailing companies. I want to review a few. Okay, you Google it, bomb, 50 different options there. Oh gosh, overwhelming. And that's just one very specific niche. If you're comfortable and you have that habit of going into tools, playing around with them, and experimenting what is good and what is bad, you'll kind of build that muscle of quickly being able to evaluate where actual value is and where there isn't. And I think that's something that again I would start right away with is just get your hands on everything. You'll get into this habit of being able to go into a tool and say, okay, I'm evaluating this CRM versus that CRM. If this is your first time evaluating CRMs, that's an overwhelming task. If this is the 20th and the 21st CRM you've had a look at, you know where to look. You're going to know what you're going to test. Okay, I'm going to try and
yeah,
associate this with this. And I think that is an important skill to have that you only get
and
by
that's
doing
what
it in
I
that
like.
overwhelming state.
That is like where like when we are now evaluating a tool, I think I can pretty much open a couple of tools, skim what they're offering, maybe look at a couple of reviews,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
work, maybe go to the marketplace, like if it's a CRM marketplace that you can, and then I think like just glancing, I can say, okay, out of 10, I just need to focus on those three because I
Yeah.
think the
And where
other
there's real
seven are
value.
just like
Yeah.
over over delivering on their like
Totally.
value prop. And even if the reviews are good, I think maybe there are a couple of them are fake or a couple of them don't make sense or people are
Mm.
not using the tool that we needed to use it, like advanced. So I'm 100% agreeing
Yeah.
on like just
And
like
because that's a
five,
skill, eh?
10. Yeah, that's a skill.
But
That's a
that's a
skill
skill
that
also
you
that,
build.
that companies
Yeah.
would pay for, where they would say like, okay, I need someone to tell me what I need and what I don't need, because everyone knows they can fall victim to that whole shiny object syndrome, especially now. Every tool sounds like it's AI powered and will make everything easy, blah blah blah, and it's so hard to make sense of it that I know of many cases where folks have just looped someone in, and these are smaller projects, but where, hey, I just need someone on board for a week to help us make sense of what tool we need, a very specific niche use case, and then okay, then they pull someone in who's had experience looking at these tools, not necessarily an expert in any one of these platforms, but just someone with the know-how of what to look for and what to ignore. It's like, okay, ignore these five, they sound great, but it's just AI BS kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Versus these two, they actually have actual value. So yeah, I think that's a that's
And that's where the like I think that's where the like the human element that you also need to learn as somebody
mm,
just starting out in this like niche is like very important. Is like you need to learn how to talk with like the people you're working with. I think that's also very crucial skill. So don't
oh
focus
sure,
just
yeah,
on like your like power of understanding the marketing concepts, RevOps concepts, understanding the technology, the APIs, the build and everything. But like if you cannot persuade somebody or talk to them to get your point across, so you implement that or you
mm,
go that path, like not, it will not be efficient. You will
yeah,
always have like battles to pass out. And I know you mentioned like you said like learn to debug humans, not just systems. So
hmm,
when we talked, so like what's your point there? Like how do
that I
you
mean
approach
that's
that? Like
yeah,
from
that's
somebody
kind
just
of
like starting out, like what's crucial there?
that so that's to that earlier point of kind of I say debug because that's sort of the RevOps talking word. There's always an issue and you need to find the bug, but I guess what it comes down to is understanding understanding people and their roles and their views on a business. Because I think if you come in from a marketing angle, or in your case, you're setting up websites. Me, I'm coming from sales, but you come in with a specific angle of how you're looking at a business and marketing. In order to understand marketing as a whole, you need to see how different roles are looking at it. And so the only way to do that is by getting in conversations, jumping on sales calls, shadowing developers, chatting with folks in the finance team, but really going out of your way to talk to different departments, see what's living there, and it doesn't have to be an interview style, and not like how can marketing help you? No, just see that what their day to day is, and how top of mind is marketing, if at all, and then if it is, when does it come up and when is it relevant for them, and where are there opportunities that you could actually help them with through your marketing campaign. So I think on that one, that's not even really marketing specific. That's just a general, starting out in any organization. I would say chat to all departments, make sure you understand how everyone is looking at the business, what their concerns are, what keeps them up at night, and then see how your job can and does affect that, right? So I think that's more of a
Yeah,
general approach than anything
and
else. But
especially when you're like just starting out, nobody is expecting from you to like make a decision, a crucial one. Nobody is expecting to
mm,
you to build out a strategy. So like if you're just starting out, like I would say be a fly on the wall, but be a fly on the wall even if it's not your uh, role related. So like if you can ask and jump or maybe re-listen to fireflies or whatever note taker, and maybe you
mm,
take some notes out of it, how people talk, how they address the topic, how they present the problem, how they present the solution. I think that is the most beneficial thing you can do when you're starting out. Like just
yep,
like be everywhere and take even if you take one sentence out of the like 2 hour call, you will always remember that sentence and how somebody
Mhm.
addressed it. Maybe an angry stakeholder, maybe they addressed the C-level person that was like not seeing the results, but they were not seeing it because it was not presented well. And then somebody jumped in and say, okay, let's take it back. Let's just change a filter on this little table and let's go from there. So I think that's the
Yeah,
that's my suggestion to like wrap up like
yeah,
how somebody can jump in, not just in marketing RevOps role, but like in any role. Just like
yeah,
be present as much as you can. And I think work when you're not paid to work, like on weekends, if you're younger and you don't have so much things going on, have a social life, but like try to add more because you will progress faster. That's my
yeah.
closing. I don't know
I love
how
it.
I call
Yeah.
it, but like, what's your to close it out before we rate our beers? Like, what would you tell to
I would
somebody
just
that's
wrap it
just
up.
starting out? Couple of
Yeah, I would just
sentences.
wrap it up with everything that we said. It's be curious, and that's not just when you're starting out, but keep that. That's going to only become more and more important as the marketplace gets more and more diversified. Stay curious, like force yourself to figure out what's new and what's happening. Make things real, right? When you're testing things out and you're trying different things, try and make them real. I mean, like, hey, put $50 in a marketing campaign and see if you're able to, get people to whatever website it is you built. Build out a newsletter, like however small it may be. But those are the biggest learning experiences. There's the focus on the AI side of things, and more specifically, like learn how AI and systems as a whole work, not just tools and platforms, but like systems. So you really understand what role all these tools play. So you become very adaptable, right? Tools are going to change faster and faster. So to be able to keep up with them, if you're going to be becoming an expert in every new tool every year, that's going to be a full-time job in and of itself. But like make yourself understand systems, how CRMs and AI agents and marketing campaigns and marketing platforms and audiences work together. Get a solid understanding of that. So I think we kind of covered the sort of the outline of what we'd
Yeah,
focus on when starting out in
and if
marketing growth.
you're listening to this, like maybe this Friday or in couple of years, just shoot us a DM, LinkedIn or anywhere else if you're just starting out. And I think, Martin, you will be happy to chat with anybody and help them. And I think I know I will be,
Of course,
because
yeah,
I think everybody should help each other. We are all like here to learn from each other. So I think that like don't be scared to reach out, even if you see somebody else that is like in the role that you are imagining yourself to be in a couple of years. Maybe reach out to them and say like, can I learn from you? What can I do to
yep,
help you save your time? I'm here. I want to learn. I think that's the best way to like to
yep,
progress in
exactly.
any
Yeah.
role. Yeah.
Be
Okay.
curious,
But
not just about tools, but people. Reach out. Force
yeah,
yourself out of that
and
comfort
it's
zone. I agree
never
with that.
easier to reach out because we all have email, we all have WhatsApp, we all have our social presence, and you can always reach out,
You know.
and you never know who will respond. But yeah, let's rate our beers for
Yeah, let's
this
get to
Friday.
the
Over to you,
yeah,
Martin.
cool. I'll kick things off. Okay, so my beer that I'm reviewing slash drinking at the moment is Triple Down Vest. I don't really have much of a story about this one, to be honest. I don't know much about it. I didn't Google it, so I didn't want to make stuff up. It's a known beer back in Antwerp, sort of my somewhat hometown from near there. Strong beer, 8%. It's usually, you'll have one, max two. That usually about does it. But just yeah, very smooth, strong blonde, but very smooth beer. I would recommend it. If you're into Belgian beers, you'll like it. Has that typical, in my opinion, typical Belgian beer flavor to it, and it's just a nice local Antwerp beer that I'd recommend. So Triple d'Anvers, that's the one of the week for me.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds great. Mine is and I have it here also. It's a Imperial salted
Oh,
caramel
Jesus.
and chocolate biscuit stout. It's by
Okay.
a local brewery. It's a Croatian brewery, Garden Brewery. I mentioned it, I think, on the first podcast. It's 8.1. I just had a sip. It's pretty good. It's smooth. I think it's good for like if it's like cold weather or maybe some kind of like dark
Mm.
meat. I will finish it after this, and I think it's enough. It's a pretty strong beer, and it's full. So
Chocolate flavor.
don't have a rating for it, but I would say I'll drink it again. It's not bad, and it's not so
I feel like
like
that's a
sugary or
rating in and
something.
of itself. Would
Yeah,
drink again. There we go. You know it's
yeah,
approved. I'm not sure how I
yeah,
feel about these chocolatey and hazelnutty beers. It's an acquired taste, but yeah.
yeah. It's
Anyway, but
not
that's
for
cool.
everyone. Yeah, it's not for everyone.
But
It's
no, good. Yeah, we chatted through a lot today. It was interesting. Stefan, any closing words? And otherwise, we'll see you. We'll see each other again. Well, soon, but we'll talk again next week.